So Rage Fist, when it comes in, should just do, yeah, just monstrous levels of damage to Golem. Wow. 7-star Hisuian Decidueye raids have officially been announced, and while we've covered some builds for this raid already, today it's only fitting that we cover one of the most used raid builds of all time. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, today it's the Return of the King. So let's take a look at how you can use Annihilape to take down yet another 7-star TERA raid and just do insane amounts of damage to Hisuian Decidueye. This one's pretty easy, but let's get to it. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the king of 7-star TERA raids himself, Annihilape, returning to take on yet another Mightiest Mark challenger. So Annihilape, for those of you that have forgotten, is fighting and ghost type with a ghost TERA type on this one. The held item is the Shell Bell because that's what we always use for this. It's level 100 because, you know, of course it is. And he is back to reclaim his throne as the king of 7-star raids. Now, as far as EVs go on this one, we went pretty basic and did the same thing we've done for most everything else on this one. Max HP, max physical attack, adamant nature here. Max physical attack is going to ensure that we do the most damage possible, and max HP is going to put our HP at 424, which is even higher than what Mew's HP stat is. So that's going to ensure that we stay alive as long as possible during this raid. Now, for our ability on this one, we went with Defiant, and Defiant is kind of the only option here, and there's a very specific reason for it. Hisuian Decidueye gets access to its signature move, Triple Arrows, which has a, I believe it's a 50% chance of dropping our physical defense by 1 stage. Defiant is going to counter that by saying, hey, you're going to drop our physical defense 1 stage, I'm about to raise your physical attack 2 stages at this point. So, Defiant is going to be incredibly helpful here, which is why you're going to realize real quick that we don't have Sword Stance or Bulk Up on this one. Now, as far as the moveset goes for this one's pretty non-standard for what we normally use with Annihilape going against 7-star raids. We still have the 2 traditional moves for this one. We have Drain Punch, obviously because that's going to do a ton of damage and still allow us to get HP back as well. Along with Annihilape's signature move, Rage Fist. Rage Fist being a move that powers up, it's only 50 base power to start with, but powers up every time you get hit up to a max of 6 times. So after we've been hit 6 times during this raid, Rage Fist becomes a 350 base power move that does unholy levels of damage to Hisuian Decidueye. And the nice thing is even if you get KO'd in this raid, Rage Fist still maintains that 350 base power attack. So even if you get KO'd, you can just come right back in and start dealing massive damage right off the bat. No setup required. Now, next up, we have Focus Energy. Focus Energy is a really nice move for this one, as it allows us to increase the chance of landing critical hits on Hisuian Decidueye. It's basically just another one of those that once we get Rage Fist the 350 base power, we can use Focus Energy and then start dealing even more damage as we're going through here. This one paired with a 350 base power Rage Fist does ridiculous damage to Hisuian Decidueye. And finally, rounding out the list, we have Screech. Screech is yet another fantastic support move for us here, as it's going to allow us to drop Hisuian Decidueye's base defense by 2 stages, making this one incredibly easy. We're only going to need the first 3 turns of setup to be able to get Hisuian Decidueye down to -6. And the entire time we're doing that, we're still building up Rage Fist power as we're getting hit. Now, the Stratton setup for this one's pretty simple, and if you've used Annihilape before, you probably know how this is going to go. You're going to hop in the first 3 turns, you're going to use Screech, and that's going to put Hisuian Decidueye at -6 physical defense. After you've done Screech for 3 turns, you're going to continue to use either Drain Punch or Rage Fist to build up your TERA to the point that you can Terastallize. And the entire time that we're doing this, we are building up Rage Fist base power by tanking hits from Hisuian Decidueye. Once we can terastalize, however, we're going to use focus energy before we terastalize. So we're going to go focus energy, and then once we've terastalized, we're going to start spamming Ragefist to do massive chunks of damage to Hisuian Decidueye, and just continue to do that until the raid is over. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Let's take a look at what this actually looks like in a raid to see exactly how much damage Annihilape can actually do. Now, this is Golem. This is a Grass Terra Golem, and this is kind of a fun test. Even though this is only a 5-star raid, its base defense is so much higher than Hisuian Decidueye's that it's not even funny. I mean, we're talking, this guy's base defense is 130, and Hisuian Decidueye's base defense is only 80. So this is not going to, this is going to be a pretty accurate comparison here. Heavy Slam does basically nothing to us because Annihilape is just naturally a very bulky Pokemon, which means that we can afford to tank those hits. It also helps when moves miss as well. He's going to do Defense Curl, which is fine because we're still running Screech, so we're dropping more than he's gaining. And the fact that Screech hit 3 times there is absolutely nuts. You can see that we're doing enough damage here just by dropping base defense that the AI is doing a lot of the work here. Now, Golem's going to throw up shield here. We really don't care because we've been hit enough that the entire time we've been using Screech, Ragefist has been building up power. So, now we can come in, use Ragefist, and it just does big chunks of damage, which is what we love to see. And the entire time we're doing that, we get HP back. There's another hit, which is totally fine with me. We run Ragefist again. So the thing is with Ragefist, if you've never used Annihilape before, that was a ton of damage. Holy cow. Okay. So the thing with Ragefist is if you've never used it before, it builds up attack, like it becomes stronger the more times you've been hit. So we've been hit almost the max of 6 times right now. So Ragefist, when it comes in, should just do, yeah, just monstrous levels of damage to Golem. Wow. Cool, and we broke shield. But yeah, Golem's base defense, like I said, is it's base 130, and the fact that that's nuts that does basically nothing. The fact that we're able to do this much damage to it with just Ragefist and Annihilape, even though it's Grass Terra, means that, you know what, we're in really good shape with this one. I mean, Annihilape, again, I hate to say it, may end up being the king of this Terra raid. So, that's it though. I mean, if you could beat Golem, there's not a whole lot he can't take on because this guy's a defensive tank. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you're going to use Annihilape to take down yet another 7-star raid event. This one should honestly be pretty easy, especially compared to what we just went through with Mewtwo. And again, Annihilape is going to get to come back and reclaim his throne as the king of these 7-star raids. The damage calcs for this one are pretty interesting. A +6 attack Annihilape versus a -6 defense Hisuian Decidueye. With Ragefist at max base power does somewhere in the neighborhood of like 4,100% HP to Hisuian Decidueye, or 13,000 damage, which means that while we're most likely not going to be at +6, -6 for most of this raid, we're still going to be doing plenty of damage to handily cover this one solo. So, let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think of Annihilape? Do you think Annihilape gets to make a return on this one? And what builds are you guys planning on bringing to take on Hisuian Decidueye when he arrives later this week? And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.